You don't have to know a lot of things in order to make a huge difference for the Lord in the world. But you do need to know a few things that are great and be willing to live for them and die for them.
Will I let Jesus prove to me that He's truly my strength? To let Him prove inside of me that through Him I can do all things.
The True Strength Life Podcast with Aaron Simpkins.
Proverbs 16:13. The king is pleased with words from righteous lips. He loves those who speak honestly. All right, so today, as I'm recording this, it's going to be released the day after Veterans Day, but I'm recording this on Veterans Day. So I do want to touch on that for a minute. Veterans Day is something that happens every November 11th, and it is the holiday that we recognize in America as thanking our veterans who have served in the military in some capacity. Now, the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day is thanking servicemen and women who have died in battle or died while in uniform. Veterans Day is thanking everybody who has served in any capacity, whether dead or alive. So what that means is Veterans Day is the one where me, you, we all should go around and thank the people in our life, because we all have them, friends, family, whatever. Thank the people in our life who have served and because the military, there's a lot of unique things about the military, and it's one of those things that I have no military background personally, but I know I can confidently say that you don't know fully what they go through unless you actually have done it yourself. And so there are many men and women who they deal with a lot of stuff. They have a lot of good experiences, great experiences from their military service, but there's a whole bunch who they have a lot of trauma that they deal with every day because of their service. And many men and women went into the military basically out of their love of country, out of their wanting to serve people like you and me and protect us. And so it's one of those, it's important to do that. It's important to thank a veteran. Thank your family members or friends around you. I know I have several close friends, several family members that have served or are currently serving. So it's just one of those holidays that, I think as an American, we all can agree that whether you're pro all the wars, anti-war, whatever, a person in uniform, they have given of themselves in some way, in a way that we will never know unless we have actually done it ourselves. So thank a veteran. Today is Veterans Day. Or as in this release, yesterday was Veterans Day. But I just want to touch on that for a minute. So what I'm going to cover for today's episode, this week's episode, is I'm going to go on my wife and I this past weekend. We watched the pretty viral, I guess I'll call it a docudrama, Am I Racist? By Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire team. He is, if you're not aware of him or them, I'm sure at this point you've probably heard of the other docudrama that was put out a couple years ago called What is a Woman? So same guy, Matt Walsh, same team. They put together one called Am I Racist? So I'll touch on that. I want to talk for a minute on holding Trump accountable. So anybody that voted for him, especially is happy that he's in. We're happy that we are hopefully going to be able to save a few dollars on gas coming up, save a few dollars on groceries coming up, and probably we have a higher chance of having more peace in the world, overseas in the Middle East. Hopefully no new wars, hopefully get out of wars. That's what we're looking forward to, but we need to hold them accountable. And then also there is a cool website that was set up by the Kennedy/Trump team. I guess I'm more so going to put this on Kennedy because it's under his. It's basically under his website, but so I'm going to touch on that and how you can actually interact with that website, which is why I want to talk about it. So, Am I Racist? Docudrama, Matt Walsh, Daily Wire. My wife's initial reaction while watching it, and then at the very end, never changed. She does not follow all this stuff in society, what the culture is, what are like relevant things going on and stuff. She does not follow that in politics and everything. She doesn't follow that like I do. She gets a lot of what she gets from my sometimes incoherent rants that she has to deal with. So, but she kept saying, and I totally agree with her, but she kept saying, I'm dumbfounded. I can't believe that like people like this that actually believe these things. I can't believe that this is like real. And I said, yes. And this is what started that is what started one of my rants. So I'll share a little bit of that with you. What she was touching on was the fact that there are people like the D'Angelos of the world. I forget her first name for some reason. But she wrote the book White Fragility. There's plenty of other ones that push this DEI, push this, we'll say woke. I know some people are going to be really mad that I said that word, but it works. Push this woke agenda of viewing people. And it's a changing of definitions of words. It's a instead of us looking at each other as humans and as a person right in front of me, it's a you're viewing them through their color of their skin. You're viewing them through what class they're in. You're viewing them through what you deem as their where they fall on the power structure. You're thinking of them in where they. I can't remember the exact word. That's a bad one, but in other words, like if you're a cisgendered white straight male in America, according to them, that is the tippy top of the worst of what you can be. And every time you add in something like a different skin color, or you add in something that, even if you're a white male, say you're gay, or say you're trans, or say you identify as something, whatever, or just you identify as your quote unquote pronouns being different than he, him. Yes, it does not get lost on me the fact that I even have to say all this is absolute nonsense, but that's where we are. Whenever you add one of those things, according to them, you're held higher. You get more points in society the further away you get from the cisgendered white male or even female, but male is the worst. So here's the difference though. And this is what we saw in the election. This is how the election turned out. This is why it's important to know this kind of stuff, and why I suggest watching this Am I Racist, which, by the way, is just funny. It was done very well, and it's just funny because Matt is very good at trolling these people because they deserve to be trolled. But here's the disconnect. The people who believe that stuff they place themselves in the elite category of humans. They believe, even if they're somebody that doesn't even have a lot of money, or they don't see themselves as high up on the power structure, because they have this mindset, they actually believe that they're better than you. They believe that if they're a woman, they don't even know what a woman is, but they believe that if they're a woman, or if they're black, or if they're trans, or if they're gay, or if they have, weird pronouns, in their mind, according to their set of rules, they are better than you. So if you're just like a regular person, they consider themselves better than you. So the entire thing, and again, you go back to the umbrella, pride movement, is grounded in what? Pride. So, of course, it's going to be utter nonsense, all of this garbage. And it should be trolled. It should be made fun of. It should be told that it is garbage. It is utter nonsense. Because it's basically its foundational principle is that it's rooted in pride. So anything that is rooted in pride should be said as utter nonsense, because that's what it is. You can't have something that's rooted in a sin. You can't have something that's rooted in pride as ending up being a good thing. That's not how this works. And so, pride comes before the fall. We know that. So anyway, if you're a common sense, logical thinking, regular average Joe person, you're going to watch Am I Racist, and you're going to crack up a lot. You're going to come away with the take of, I can't believe that there's people actually believe this and actually say these things. But also have an awareness, though, of the fact that the people who do that, the people who think that, who push that, they're not and this goes back to my beginning point of what I mean by we saw this in the election. The Trump voters, the Republican voters, the country, there was a huge red wave that happened because there's a disconnect between the Democrats and the average Joe person. So all of the blue dots across the country were mostly cities, and they consider themselves, the elites of the society. And then basically the rest outside of a city, for the most part, the rest of the country said, no, this stuff is stupid. And so then so this brings me back to the awareness part. When you watch something like this, and if you don't already know what's going on, you're not already aware of these things, and this is kind of your introduction to this world, have an awareness of the fact that, yes, all this is crazy nonsense, garbage, and the average Joe person hears this stuff and goes, how can anybody believe that? That's dumb. That's not how the world works. That's not how we should be viewing people. Yes, okay, that's the average Joe person. But have this awareness that the Hollywood celebrities, the academia world, the majority of professors and everybody in that, most of the richest people in the world, the higher up leadership structures, leadership teams of corporations, much of Washington, D.C., the elites in Washington, D.C., all of those groups of people subscribe to this utter nonsense. And that's why you're seeing such a big push on the most vulnerable of people that will fall for this, which is what? Kids. That's why they want to push it on kids so bad, because if they can get the kids to believe this, then the kids will turn on parents. That once the parents, hear this from their kids, and the parents are like, "What in the world are you talking about?" The kid goes, "Oh, well, you're just a white supremacist that's trying to you're trying to hold your supremacy and your patriarchy over me," or some nonsense like that. So have an awareness of it, which practically means like if you send your kid away to college, to most of these universities, this is what they're going to be confronted with. This is what they're going to hear on a daily, every hour basis from their professors. Most of the colleges, most of the professors. I'm not going to say a broad statement of everything, but it is most. And if you send your kids to public school, it's the same thing. If you are sending them to theater, it's the same thing. If you're sending them, if you're watching movies, it's the same thing. I'm not saying to live in fear, but we do need to have an awareness of what is going on, and we need to learn the enemy's strategies so that we can know what we're even combating, because there is a war going on here that if you don't even know that there's a war happening, how are you going to be prepared to fight it? Okay? So we need to know that. Watching this Am I Racist docudrama is one way that you can become aware and you can know that. Moving on. Holding Trump accountable. Now, yes, whether you love or hate him as a person, there's a lot of people who hate him as a person, but they're like, you know what? I'm lining the policies up on paper, and I just cannot vote for blue. I got to vote for red. And that's where a lot of people are. I'm kind of in the middle where quite honestly, I don't think Trump is as bad as a lot of people say he is as a person. That doesn't also mean that I think he's a great guy. But I definitely am on board with a lot of his policies. So we as his voters, even people who didn't vote for him, but actually want to see the country succeed, we have to hold him accountable, hold him, make our voices known. He's close with people like Elon Musk, who does a ton of interaction on X. He has he's close with a Kennedy, who Kennedy interacts with a lot of people online. So you might think of, it is a little hard to think of like, how am I going to make my voice known to Trump? I mean, you can make it known to people around him that will make it known to him. If we're seeing him start putting people in positions that we're like, why that's not a good person. That's a swamp creature. That's a no good. We need to hold him accountable to these things. Also, he's made a whole bunch of promises of things he's going to do in this term. And as time goes on, we need to make our voices known to hold him accountable to those promises. So that's just, again, something to keep in mind. Last thing I want to talk about, because I don't want to make this too long, but I think this is really cool. I don't know if this has been done before by an administration. I could be wrong in saying this is the first time, but this is really cool, and this is one way that I think it's a very practical way for an everyday person to actually get involved in the Trump administration, in who is being put into positions. So this seems to be more of a Kennedy thing, but again, I could be wrong on that. But Kennedy is working with Trump. So it is his administration, but this is going through Kennedy, I guess. So that being said, what am I talking about? Nominees.mahanow.org. Maha is MAHA. So nominees.mahanow.org is a website you can go to, and it's really cool because you as a regular person, you can go and you can nominate somebody that you want to have other people vote on to show that this person should be put into a position in the administration. This person should be given an actual real position in the administration. So the other thing you can do is, if you're not nominating somebody, you can go on and look at who's already on there and vote. So then the administration will come and look at this website and be like, okay, these couple people, this person, they have a whole bunch of votes. So we need to look into them and possibly hire them and give them a position. So I just think that's really cool because it could be a way where actual real people get put into positions instead of just the typical bureaucracy, typical, politician type person. It might actually be some like regular experts, like real experts in these different fields. And then real people get to actually share their voice and vote for these people, and even nominate. So the way I even came across this was I follow a guy online on Instagram. His name is Barbarian Hawk, Hak, Barbarian Hawk on Instagram, and he posted up a link to this website, the nominees at .mahanow.org, where he actually is out there. Somebody nominated him, or maybe he put himself up. I'm not sure, but he's trying to get actually put into this administration somehow because he sees how he could contribute to really helping to make America healthy again. So who is this guy? This guy, his name on this website is, now stay with me, is Chief Minister Dr. Nabecher Hakim Bey. Now, he is a Chief Prime Minister of I'm saying these names probably wrong, Prime Minister of the Zemiku Tribal Nation. He's Native American. He's a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award for improving so many American lives. He's a Doctor of Kinesiology, Doctor of Exercise Physiology, Sport Nutritionist and Master Trainer, Professional Athlete, and ranked number one vegan pro bodybuilder. Natural pro bodybuilder, I should say. So he's somebody, my personal opinion, he's somebody that he knows everything there is to know about health. And he's putting himself out there as what I call a regular person in the private sector who actually wants to go into this administration and be given a role in how he can positively impact people's health in the country through being a part of the administration. So I love that. I think that's so cool. And so I went on this. I looked around the website. I figured it out a little bit, and I voted for him. And what I'll do is in the notes of this episode, I will actually I'll just post the link up to his page on this so that you guys can go to the website, but also see this guy I'm talking about. I don't know him. I don't know him. I have actually met him once, but we don't know each other. This is purely me just telling you somebody I think would be really cool, and also telling you about this website so you can go check this website out yourself. And this is not just like super Trump people on this either. Like I saw on here Cory Booker, who's definitely not a Trumper. A bunch of people nominated for a position. So there's anybody can be nominated and then voted on. So I just think it's really cool. So it goes to show again how the Republicans in 2024 in the election, they were very good at coming across as the administration and as the ticket that was for the people, the average people. And the Democrats, I think a big reason the Democrats lost was because they are completely disconnected with the average person. And that showed in the results across the country. So, all that to be said, I think there's some good stuff here. I want you to go check out this website. Like I said, it'll be in the show notes. Check out that Am I Racist docudrama on Daily Wire. I think the only way you can watch it is if you have a subscription to it. So I'm not really sure other than getting that subscription. So maybe you have to go and do it. But there's a lot of good stuff on there. So I'm definitely not against that. I have it myself. That's how I saw it. So also Veterans Day. Thank you, veterans. And thank you to, I have several brother-in-laws and several good friends, several family members who have been in the military or are currently in the military. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your service, for your sacrifice, and I hope that you feel appreciated by your fellow Americans around you. So with that, remember, guys, truth is strength.